morning and welcome to Calf Chat. My name is Noah Litherland. For those of you that haven't met me yet, I'm a dairy calf and heifer technical specialist with Vita Plus. I've been with Vita Plus for about 6 months now, and formerly I was at the University of Minnesota as assistant professor in research and extension. Today I'd like to talk to you about factors regulating starter grain intake in nursery calves. Oftentimes I refer to starter grain intake as being a magical thing because not only does it provide nutrients to the calf, but it also really aids in developing the rumen and the small intestine. Some of the research that I did at the University of Minnesota showed that as we increase starter grain intake in calves, not only do we get a bigger, more developed functional rumen, we establish the microbial ecosystem within the rumen, but it also contributes to a longer small intestine. So it's more absorptive surface area for nutrients. So when I say it's magical, it does really have a big impact on the calf. The rumen also is really starting to become, once it develops, that microbial ecosystem in the rumen does really offer some protection against some of the bad bacteria or viruses that may be out in the environment that may be impacting the small intestine. Because things have to go through the rumen to get to the small intestine, so it does afford some protection. If I think about 5 different factors that may regulate starter intake in calves, there are a variety of them. The first one is nutrients from milk. The higher the plain nutrition from milk, the more nutrients the calf is getting from milk, and therefore the lower amount of starter intake the calf is going to consume to meet the requirements. So we like to look at a moderate plain of calf nutrition from milk, not too high, not too low, so the calves are really encouraged to eat starter intake at an early standpoint. The other is growth. I really feel like a rapid rate of growth or high rate of growth really pulls starter intake along. Calves are going to be consuming starter intake to meet their nutrient requirements. So whenever calves are growing quickly, or perhaps whenever it's a colder environment, their nutrient requirements are increased by both those factors, both growth and cold stress, and they're going to be eating more starter grain intake. The third factor is access. Do calves have ready access to starter grain? Is the pail height correct? Is the starter grain clean and free of any mold or any foreign matter? Is it within easy access to the baby calves? The fourth thing is health. A healthy calf really should be looking for starter grain intake between the first and second week of age. If a calf has developed scours or pneumonia, we know those factors are going to delay starter intake. They may still drink milk, but they may not be consuming starter grain. We've seen often with bouts of scours or pneumonia, it will actually delay growth and delay starter intake by up to 2 weeks during that time of recovery from the calf dealing with those health challenges. The fifth and final factor is starter hygiene. We want the starter to be free of fines, to be of good quality, but also to be free of any contaminants that may come from wild bird populations, from fly populations, that sort of thing that is going to reduce starter intake. So those are our 5 factors that are going to really regulate starter intake. So some tricks to really encouraging great starter intake in calves is to add a small amount of starter grain to the milk bucket as the calf is finishing their milk. The idea there is it'll give calves the concept that, hey, starter grain is associated with food, and as they're finishing their milk, they may be able to consume some of that starter grain, and it'll really hopefully kickstart calves in terms of consuming starter grain. The second really kind of beneficial thing to really stimulate grain intake is also to feed calves in a shallow pan. I call them nibble pans. The idea there is to prevent calves from being afraid or concerned with sticking their head into a deep bucket. That can also be a limiting factor as well whenever calves have to arch their neck into a deep bucket. The shallow pan is a small rubber pan you can get at any farm store. The idea there is providing a small amount of grain very close to the calf's nose so it's easier for them to eat. The third and final tip to really stimulating starter intake is warm water. Calves typically drink milk. We offer warm water after milk replacer, and then hopefully calves are really interested in continuing to eat starter intake. Research studies have shown that starter intake and water intake are very positively correlated. So as calves continue to eat more starter, they're going to need to consume more water as well. So having plenty of fresh, warm water available for calves right around the time of feeding is really important. So that's it, and those are some factors that are going to regulate starter intake. Again, starter intake is a magical feed, really helps the calf not only from a nutrient standpoint, but from a health and a GI tract or gastrointestinal tract development as well. With that, I'm Noah Litherland from Vita Plus, and this has been another edition of Calf Chat. Thank you for your time.